Hello everyone, welcome back. Thank you for joining me on my channel. My name is Connor. So tonight, I really just wanted to focus on a topic that is so crucial and so important, especially to any empath who has had narcissistic abuse, whether it was in, the beginning stages of their childhood and carried on throughout their young adult life, or has gone through any kind of narcissistic abuse within their intimate, romantic relationships, their marriages. This is so crucial. Reprogramming our subconscious mind and rewiring our neural pathways and our ways of thinking, because we've been so abused and neglected, and we have really developed these toxic patterns within our thought processes and in our minds that have really caused us to go into this really dark downward spiral, right? So, and that has happened over a long period of time. So this rewiring and this reprogramming of our subconscious mind, we have to remember that it's going to take time, and it's going to take patience, and it's going to take a lot of repetition. Okay, so we're habitual creatures, right? So we do a lot of things out of habit. So when it comes to our subconscious mind and rewiring this very complex, in-depth concept, it's hard. It's a concept that's hard to grasp in general, but when you're actually in your mind and you are trying to mentally rewire your actual thought processes and your thinking patterns, it's difficult. It's hard. I'm not going to beat around the bush when I talk about that, because it's just the reality of the situation and the truth of the matter. It's difficult, but it's not impossible. So when it comes to this, the two things that are so important to remember is it's habitual. Okay, so you have to make a habit of these thought patterns. So, and repetition. I can't say that enough. That is what has saved me, is the repetitiveness of these, replacing these toxic thought patterns with these positive emotions, and consciously being aware of the changes that I've needed to make so that I can get out of, whether it was my dark night of the soul at the time, or just get away from these toxic thought patterns, or just feel this pull to these dark negative energies. Okay, because when you go through toxic trauma and you have these deep, dark emotional scars and wounds from your childhood, or these relationships that you've just invested so much time and energy into, and it's literally sucked the life out of you, that takes a toll on you. You don't just forget these thought patterns. You don't forget how it's made you feel. Your body literally absorbs that and remembers it. So you, as your own individual person, has to take responsibility, right? And to rewire all of that, and to undo all of it, and to reprogram your subconscious mind, right? So I'm just trying to find my place here. I wrote a couple notes down because there's so much I want to talk about when it comes to this. It's so important, especially for the healing process. Our minds are so complex, and they're so powerful on top of that. So, and we're in control. But sometimes I think that we forget that we're not the thinker. It's important to remember that we are the observer. We must be the observer of our thoughts. So when we feel these strong negative, dark emotions coming on, or we fall into this trap of these dark thought patterns, right? We need to remember that, number one, like I already said, this is a repetitive pattern that's going to take time, but also that we need to be looking from our higher mind down at these thoughts and letting them pass through us, and not becoming attached to these emotions and these thought processes and these thought patterns, not letting them consume our minds. Because especially me of all people, I know what it's like to get caught up and feel like there's just this, almost like this monster in your head that you kind of can't even get away from. So what the end goal here is to rewire our minds to where we don't have to try so damn hard to basically embed these new processes, okay? So it's gonna take some time at first, and that's what it's gonna feel like. You're gonna feel like you're constantly in this mental struggle of fighting against these programs, because that's what they are. They're programs in your subconscious mind that you're fighting against. Okay, so what the end goal here is to make this automatic. We want to get away from these negative feelings and these negative emotions, right? And these negative thought patterns. And we want to turn them into positive feelings, positive thought patterns that are going to better our life and propel us forward and get us back on the right track, and not having us feeling depressed or bogged down, right? So we want to eventually get to where this is just natural. You know, nothing against these people, but if you've noticed, people like who have been through traumatic situations in their life, it's a lot harder. We have to work a lot harder to stay upbeat sometimes. We have to work a lot harder to stay positive and to just kind of keep ourselves out of this dark rut, right? This dark hole that it just is so easy to fall into, because our subconscious mind is programmed when we're children, and even before we're born, but more so when we are born and we're being raised and we're just this blank canvas, and we're being raised by two people that are able to pretty much just either pass on their generational traumas, or they pass on their wisdom. And some of us, you know, get parents who just they don't do that. So as adults, it's our responsibility to fix that, right? And to reprogram ourselves. And we're more than capable of doing that. It's a matter of taking the time and wanting to make these changes, because these changes can be so difficult and so embedded and in depth, and you really have to make a conscious effort mentally, and that takes a lot of energy and willpower. So our subconscious mind is in control of all of our emotions, right? So anything that we feel that's negative, that we feel that triggers us to have anxiety or anger, frustration, just these negative, terrible feelings, right? We're having those feelings because of what has been literally programmed into our subconscious mind. So what we have to do is, whatever it is that we're conscious and aware of, we have to reprogram. So I'm just going to give you guys an example. So say you want to start eating healthy every day and meal prepping, right? You're making that conscious effort and that conscious decision, right, to meal prep every day. Take the steps and write down a meal plan Monday through Friday and have the weekends off, right? That's your conscious decision that you're making. So subconsciously, you're going to have to put in the effort and the actions in order to carry out what it is you're trying to accomplish. So say 3 weeks into your meal plan prepping, you just stop, right? Why did you stop? Is because you didn't keep pushing through those. You're not making it a conscious effort anymore. You're not reprogramming your subconscious mind, so you're forgetting it, and you're going on to something else, or it's just not working for you anymore. So of course it's not going to become natural, right? It's not going to become something that is habitual, because you didn't stick it through, you didn't stick it out. So basically with what I'm trying to say is, we have to make sure that we're sticking to these ways of thinking, and that we're holding ourselves accountable, and we're showing up every single day for ourselves, because nobody can do it. This is the one thing that I really realize, is that nobody can do it for us but ourselves. And we really have to want to make these conscious decisions and put that will kind of carry out subconsciously through our actions, right? So you have to make the choice first, and then the action will follow through our subconscious programming. What else do I have here? Another thing. So if you feel, I just kind of wanted to touch on this because it's something that I feel compelled to talk about. If you feel like you're having a hard time with ancestral trauma and either not wanting to pass it on, or you feel like you can't break these cycles or curses or whatever you want to call it, remind yourself and ask yourself this question: do I want to pass on my suffering, or do I want to pass on my wisdom? And I hope that you would want to pass on your wisdom, because I don't think that we fully understand how much power we have in the choices that we make, especially when it comes to breaking our ancestral trauma and these cycles and passing on these traumas to our children, and even just for our own selves, releasing the suffering and not allowing it to consume our lives anymore, and to really make these conscious efforts to rewiring and reprogramming our ways of thinking, because this is why we're here, Starseeds and 144 Lightworkers. We're here because we chose to incarnate, and we chose parents who had young souls. We are the old souls. We are the wisdom keepers and the way showers. We've lived so many lifetimes and practiced so many things and abilities throughout these lifetimes. And this is the time to put all that to action. And we chose to live these difficult journeys, because it was going to bring us to this point on this timeline to where we're able to be the conscious creators and create the new timeline for the new earth. So right now is a pivotal time for all of us to be conscious of the thoughts that we're thinking, because they really truly are becoming the actual reality within the 5D earth, because we have now transitioned over into the new 5D. And there's still people stuck, there's still going to be people stuck in that third dimension, lower timeline. But us as starseeds, and as with the capabilities that we have, and the powerful minds and ancient wisdom that we have, we are now going to be the new earth, and the ones who are going to be the way showers for everyone to follow. So I know in my last video I kind of touched on stepping into our new leadership roles. This is an exciting time for every single starseed that has incarnated here on Earth. Whether you have lineages with the Pleiadians or the Arcturians, the Andromedans, keep channeling with them, relaying your channeled messages to us so that we know and can stay updated on your messages. You're very important right now, extremely, extremely important. So I just kind of wanted to touch on that stuff. I felt Holy Spirit was just kind of talking to me tonight, and just I felt so compelled. And yeah, I hope that you're feeling great. I know some of these energies have been really dark, especially the past week, but there's been a lot of divine feminine energy coming in. So make sure we're staying open to that. And I hope you all have a great night. I hope to be back on here soon, and I will see you all in my next video.